The oldest part of our brain is a survival-based reflex component located just at the top of the brainstem, kind of at the very base of our brain. This is the part of our brain that's been with us since evolution began. It's the part of our brain that says, sense something threatening, move away. Sense something pleasurable, move toward it. Sense food, eat it. It's the part of our brain that when the doctor taps our knee with a little rubber mallet, our leg jerks. It's just a reflex. It happens without us even consciously thinking about it. Years ago, I was at Sandy Point Park in Maryland with a friend of mine, and we were on the beach, but we could see this lovely grassy knoll up in the distance. And it looked like if we got up there, we would have a beautiful view of the Chesapeake Bay. Between us and the knoll was a marshy area full of tall reeds and grasses, like up above our heads. But we could see a little path winding into the reeds. So we decided to try and see if that would lead us to the knoll. So we're walking down this path and we come around a bend and something moved very quickly in the path. I think it was a fat snake, but I didn't get a good look at it because the next thing I knew, I was flat on my back looking up at the beautiful blue sky above. My brain reacted to whatever that slithering little thing was. It wasn't little. That slithering thing was in the path and launched my body backwards with so much force. I careened into my friend, knocked her down, and landed on my back on top of her. She was none too pleased. And by the time we scrambled to our feet, whatever it was that I had seen was long gone. But that was my reflex survival instinct, probably the most powerful example I can recall of that happening. Now, as our skulls expanded, as humans developed and we grew this expansive forehead, it created space for our brain to expand. And we developed a prefrontal cortex. This is the part of our brain where we can consider options, we can weigh pros and cons, and we can solve complex problems. But for that part of our brain to work, we have to feel safe. When we're safe, we're thinking up here. When we feel unsafe because something slithered across the path and I don't know what it was, we're thinking back here with that reflex-oriented survival instinct brain. Scammers rely a lot on getting us back over into that back part of our brain. If you've ever gotten one of those scary emails that looks like it came from Amazon and says, hey, we've received your order and we're about to charge your credit card $3,000. Click the link below if you want to cancel the order. Or you get one that says, your account has been suspended due to suspicious activity. If you want more information, click the link below. They're counting on us being so reflex survival instinct, $3,000, that I click the link before my rational prefrontal cortex clicks in and says, something about this email doesn't look quite right. Because this part of our brain reacts a whole lot faster than this part of our brain can process. For the last 4 years, we've had a lot of things coming at us, almost a daily barrage of stressors that keep activating this reflex-oriented, survival-oriented part of our brain. First, there was a new virus that none of us knew how to protect ourselves from. Millions of people were dying. We didn't know how bad it was going to be. We didn't know when it was going to end. It was very much tapping into our survival instinct. And then when pandemic fears eased, other things started hitting us. The shuttering of factories for so long meant that it took a while for things to get going again. which led to supply chain issues. And with high demand and low supply, prices started going up. Kids went back to school, and we realized just how much learning loss had happened while teachers were trying to teach them at home. Some of us who were working remotely during that time are still working remotely. A lot of offices decided to keep with that remote working arrangement, which means that our social support networks have dwindled. In 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General of the United States issued a report citing loneliness and isolation as an epidemic in our country, and citing the health detriments of loneliness and isolation as equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And things just keep coming at us. Prices are still high. The economy seems to be leveling out, but it hasn't quite recovered. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. There's wars going on in the Middle East and in Europe. There's climate issues with major storms and droughts. There's this huge wave of human migration happening as people flee violence and flee natural disasters. Now, I don't say all of that to scare you. The reason that I want to share that with you is because over and over again, with all this bombardment of stressors, we're mostly functioning with our reflex-oriented survival instinct brain. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling worried, if you're having a hard time focusing, making decisions, if your brain feels foggy, it's because so much of your body's energy is back here responding to these threats and not up here where we can be more rational and solve problems, because we have to feel safe to be able to access that part of our brain. You know, when we're feeling worried and we're feeling anxious, it not only impedes our ability to think straight, but it can make us start to feel threatened by situations in our environment, other people in our environment. We have a need to be able to control things around us so that we can preserve our safety. We feel like we need to control other people and other people's thinking. We tend to be wary of anyone who feels like they're not part of our tribe. One of the beautiful things about our prefrontal cortex is our ability to think about our thinking. So we can look at how we're processing this information, and we can recognize how it may be affecting the thoughts that we think and the emotions that we feel and the energetic vibrations that we are emanating. Take a look at this scale. On a scale of 0, 1 to 10, where would you assess your worry? If you're feeling overwhelmed, anxious, depressed, angry, difficulty making decisions, you can use your biology to overcome those threatening feelings and restore your ability to function from your higher executive functioning part of your brain. Things like intentional breathing, even just a few minutes, tapping, grounding, lying on your back with your feet up in the air, splashing cold water on your face. All of these are things we can use to help calm and soothe our nervous system. I have some videos on my channel. I'll leave some links to some techniques that you can try. I hope you found this information helpful. If you have any questions or feedback for me, feel free to leave a comment down below, or you can email me, carolyn@carolynpitts.com. And if this kind of content appeals to you, I invite you to join my intention circle by going to intendwell.us and entering your email address. Every week, I give bonus content that's not available through my public channels. It's a little bit more close-knit group of our tribe of people who want to live an intentional life and be the best that they can be, body, mind, and spirit. I hope you'll join us. Thank you for listening. Have a beautiful day. Take care.